until your factory's full out.
It's simple. Just do what you got to do when you're here. Make sure you're going hard every single time you're here. You have 2 months to compete. Like, let that sink in. I think that should be like enough fire underneath you to get in here and work on your skills. Like, absolutely. And both of these teams, there's high expectation for both of you right out of the gate, whether you believe it or not. Like, the people that are in D2, they're going to be wanting to see what you're doing. So you guys need to make sure that when we go out in Dallas that you can deliver. Okay? So make sure that you're putting in the work, and make sure you're bringing in your stunt groups, because I am about to start issuing out conditioning. I know if you've been here or not. So if you haven't, I suggest that you go ahead and get in here and do that.
Like, why are you running all over the place? You literally do your motions. Amaya. 7, 8, 1, 2. You turn, you pivot. Corner. 1, 2. If I can fit around all my hands and tuck right here, you should be able to too. Get set, do it again.
Honestly, I think our secret sauce is the way that we all come together as a family, if I'm being honest.
Everything that you do counts. And it's either going to be on the good side of the score sheet or the bad side of the score sheet. Okay? Everything that you do at practice counts. Are you making yourself better? Are you making yourself work? Are you staying the same?
8 years, no sign. 8 years, we were always the best kept secret, and people just kind of came to us and they found us. And now we are officially signed.
Ready? 1.
Double down, go fingers.
1, 2, 3, clean 5, 7, 8, 1, turn 3, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3,
Hitch,
5, 6, 7,
tight.
1, move 3,
Hitch,
5,
7, hold 1, down 3, 5, clean 7, 1, 3, dip 5, good Denise.
7, turn 1, 3.
Let's try that again. One more time.
Take note of that. Exactly. 3, clean 5, 1, 7, 8, 1,
Tight.
3, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 5, 7,
Tight.
1, 3,
5, 7, dip 1, down 3, good.
5,
Tight.
7,
Come on, you got it.
3,
Dip 5, you gotta be dead. Come on.
1, 3, down 5,
Lift.
7,
Turn 1,
3,
breath. 6, 7, tight. 1, tight. 3, 5, good.
I got the lesson.
That's all. That's all.
Alright, first of all, welcome to your factory and welcome to the first showcase for Rain. The routine that you're going to be seeing today is what we call our base routine. We will continue throughout the season to build on it. We've got a couple of elements that are new to Rain. We've got a basket in the routine. We're going to be adding a lot more difficulty as the season goes on. These athletes have been practicing for what, about 2 months now? About 2 months, that's about 8 practices. That's about it so far, about 8 practices, and they're doing amazing. We're really excited for them to take this routine to the floor. The competition that they're going to be at this weekend is one of the largest, so there'll be a lot of people out there supporting them, and not just our family and friends, but a lot of people from other gyms. So we're really excited. I will tell you, these athletes perform really well when you're loud. So make sure you cheer them out throughout the whole routine. Try not to overpower the coaches when they're counting, but it's really hard to overpower me counting anyway because I'm pretty loud. Most people know I don't need a microphone unless we have like a full house, and even then. Y'all ready to see it? Yeah! Music's on.
Here we go.
Ready for the rain, this is our time. Never gonna stop until we reach the finish line.
At the top of the game, that's where we will forever reign. If you try to get in the way, you better believe we bring in the pain.
The way to the top. Now I like diamonds, I like something, I like shining. $1 million bills with my pay, keep on shining. Like a Balenciaga, no one's ever good. And I'm going to the good. I put one on in my watch. Diamond, this will bring the
Rain is one of our special abilities teams. They're in our Brenham location. We have a second one. They're named Fortune. And this is Rain and their showcase that they had for their parents before we competed for the first time. The Special Abilities program at Shea Factory is the heart of our gym. It doesn't matter what kind of day you're having. The moment that you walk into the gym and you see these athletes practicing, it literally just brings so much joy to your heart, and you realize that all the challenges that you may have faced that day are nothing compared to what these athletes are up against on a daily basis, and yet they come in and each day they fight harder and they practice harder, and their attitude is amazing. And really at the end, all they want is to be seen on the floor as any other athlete. And they truly are amazing at that. Rain has been, this is their 4th season, I believe, if I'm counting right. And we have watched these athletes, a lot of these athletes have been with us since the inception. And we've watched them grow, not just physically, but as athletes. And there's really nothing they can't do. One of the things that we tell parents when they sign up for this program is we're not going to add any barriers to them. We're not going to add any limitations to them. We're going to blow the doors wide open and then let them tell us when to stop. So this program is absolutely my favorite program at the gym, and they are the heart of Shea Factory. So if you want to see what our heart looks like, watch Rain or watch Fortune on the floor, and we're wide open. That's what we are.
Mark off. So everything in front of the bench will be sitting room.
Okay.
The benches will be there, and then chairs all the way back. With that open and that open on the other side so that we can walk through.
Okay, and then we're going to have the parent viewing pit and the team there, right?
Well, I even did it on this side too. So this will be sitting, that'll be seating.
Perfect.
So, and then the orange benches will kind of cut that. That'll be our line, and then chairs all the way back.
The 2018-19 Shea Factory Showcase at the beginning of the season was particularly special this year because it was the first time we actually had a showcase where we brought both gyms together in one location. It was definitely the largest showcase that we have ever had. We had all of our teams there. We had 11 teams that performed at the showcase, and we had well over 400 spectators that actually came to watch the showcase. It's really easy to look at the end product and be excited about it, but there's a lot of stuff that goes into the end, in the beginning of it, a lot of working parts, a lot of moving parts, a lot of people doing different things where everybody's doing their own thing. We all have to come together at the end, and hopefully we are collectively on the same page, which is kind of can be very difficult at times, very challenging. But specifically, Taylor is in charge of all of our events. So she was the one that was extremely instrumental in getting all of the things laid out for us to where we could assign, people to do tasks. And then each person did an exorbitant amount of extra things to get us to where, get us to this.
Okay, so what we're going to do is everybody at 7:05, that door will open. This door is going to remain closed the whole time. This door will open, and people will be able to start taking seats. There's 2 spaces up front, and when y'all see it as we land out, there'll be like a mosh pit of chairs. It'll be just like at every competition. That's where the people that are watching the performance will sit. Everybody else will sit in the chairs. When they're done, they need to move quickly out so the next parents can come in. So we'll be kind of moving like this. But once we get started, we're going to bring everybody in. We're going to welcome them in. I'm going to introduce them to all of you awesome people. And then we're going to introduce our CS ambassador candidates. And then from there, we're going to line up all the athletes. Humble on one side, Brenham on another. They're going to be given those envelopes. Once they're given those envelopes, we're going to circle them up. I'll have somebody because whoever's piped in there needs to find like a funny song. They're going to have 3 minutes to find their big and little. You're gonna have 3 minutes to walk around and find your gym buddy. Y'all need to find the littles that can't read.
Yeah.
Because they're gonna
forewarned everybody from rumble.
They're gonna open up their envelopes. There's confetti and all kinds of stuff in there. Once you have found your cheer buddy, we are going to get in the center here with our cheer buddies and get ready for a quick picture, and then we're gonna get ready to bring it on the floor. Y'all ready? All right, here we go. And then it's gonna be hand your stuff to your parents and get back up to the holding tank, and then we're gonna start. And it will literally run. And they'll have literally about a minute and a half to clear off and get the next team ready. So we're just gonna go. Dallas is going to be announcing the teams like you would at a competition. Same thing with the competition floor. You got 10 minutes on each mat. You can use them however you want to, but you're going to have 1 minute for transition. And then when she says switch, and she starts the timer, no arguments.
For practice.
For practice. 10 minutes. That's all you got. I don't care if they look like a hot mess. 10 minutes.
Show off is where the kids get a chance to basically get their parents a good view of what they've been doing over the summer before we go to competition, kind of like a dress rehearsal. I think for the gym as a whole, realizing how many teams that we've grown to, and as we took a look at the teams themselves and when they started the summer and when we got to show off how far we've come, but I think it was real effective. I think the teams learned a lot, we learned a lot.
We were not prepared at all. I feel like we were not prepared. It was.
I don't feel like anybody was ready.
I don't think anyone was ready, but I mean, it's a learning lesson. Like, now we know, like, we might not get to be able to take off as much as we got to take off. You know, you might not be able to miss as much as you can miss, you know, and we try to give people leverage and they take it and they run with it and then they take advantage of it, and that's honestly what happened. Like, and I mean, we've been in this position many times, many moons, and it always comes together at the 99th hour. So, I mean,
because when I did ask you guys, like, just the climate of the gym, you know, like you guys were like saying, hey, these kids aren't showing up. They're going to be involved in fairs. They're going to be different. I'm like, what is going on? Why aren't they coming to practice? Because I'm coming from now like 15 years of just kids that are, they're at the door before I'm at the door.
The culture has changed a lot.
There's so much energy and preparation that these kids are putting into these routines now. And I hadn't had to ask for kids to come into the gym and come in and work out on which they're there. I'm like, I got to send you out of the gym.
Yeah, kick them out.
You know.
I mean, even really 7-8 years ago when we were in Belleville. I mean, we didn't have that. I mean, the kids showed up. It's been really, I would say, in the last like 5 years, and it's mostly because kids are involved in so much now. Like, parents are afraid to say no. They want their kids to be good at everything, and the problem is, it's like, you know, they say, you know, jack of all trades, master of none. Right. At some point, you have to decide what you're willing to allow your child to participate in and what you don't. We had a 1-sport rule at any given time. Not that they could only do 1 sport, but they could only do 1 sport at a time. So,
coming from the show-offs, Dutchess surprised me the most at show-offs. So I had more expectations of them being a team that was going to show up and do a really good job with their showmanship and performance. I really like their routine. Spirit Celebration as a competition, we've always enjoyed going there from the different programs that I've been a part of. I like the fact that they do a toy drive every year. They do other competitions that revolve around themed experiences, such as the Dallas Cowboys. They have the WOW Award. The WOW Award is probably the most dynamic cheerleader on the floor or within the team, within the program. We had one actually this past competition from Dutchess, Alexis Stewart, who won that one for us this year. My own personal kids have won it once or twice. For me, it's very important. Each competition sets up the month. For me, it's almost like having going to a competition. It's almost like having a month of practices. You learn a lot about the kids, you learn a lot about the parents, about your coaching, how we go about our practice room regimen, things that we need to change to get prepared for the next part of the season. We have to start thinking about what we did, what we need to do better, and
just make some subtle adjustments. We maybe have some kids that were panicked in the back. What can we do to prepare them to be a little bit more at ease before we go to competition?
Now, Lady Royals, this is their they're a brand new team. This is their first season as a competitive team. Most of these girls have never even been on the mat before, and we had a lot of nerves in the warm-up room. We were making a lot of mistakes, so I wanted to take a moment to just really, find our grounding again and really focus on what's really important. And we were talking about, who had competed before, and of course nobody raised their hands. And I said, "Who's this first time?" And we raised our hands again, and so now we're just trying to break down the process with the athletes and really just talk to them about what really matters, and not worrying about the fear, but to really focus on the routine. And so one of the first things I always tell them is that this is something they've trained for. They know the routine in their sleep. We've done it over and over again, and we just need to breathe. We just have to get out and breathe. That we're so proud of the fact that they're out on the floor and they're doing what they're doing, that if they go out and they forget a count, it's okay. We'll come back out and fix it. But the most important thing is to not be afraid of being afraid. Is to get out on the floor and do what we know that they need to do. So right now we're just really trying to encourage them to breathe some life into them, to really just to help them understand that at the end of the day, this is just one more performance, one more practice. And I was one of the things that came to mind after we had the rough warm-up was that these girls are new to this, and this is a brand new experience, and it's an extremely daunting task to get out in front of hundreds of thousands of people and perform something. And so I wanted to take a minute and just talk to them, just ground them again. But a lot of the people that are in the stands don't even realize it. For these girls, this is a huge moment for them. This is a huge moment they've been training for since this summer, and it all culminates in this big competition that they've worked so hard for. And they're afraid of letting their team down. They're afraid of letting their coaches down. They're afraid of letting their families down. They're afraid of letting themselves down, and they're focused too much on what can go wrong. So we try to teach them to be in the moment, to celebrate the moment, and to embrace what they have going on, and to not worry so much about being afraid, because a lot of them are a lot stronger than they give themselves credit for.
What about the practice run was left for?
I really think it's because there's other teams going on, and there's a lot of music that's going on, and a lot of conflicting routines, and it's easy to get distracted. And quite honestly, if you're not having the best warm-up and another team is hitting everything, and they're in your division, it can definitely mess with your psyche a little bit. And so you've got these young ladies that have never been in a practice room before, and they're hearing the music over the loudspeaker, and now all of a sudden things aren't going the way that they've practiced it because of nerves. And the young lady that I'm walking with right now, this is her very first competition, and she was worried about letting her team down. This is a very selfless worry. She was worried about letting her team down and not doing what she needed to do to make the routine successful. And I had to explain to her that we win as a team and we lose as a team, and we don't just have one person on the team, but that I knew that she was going to be amazing, and that she needed to allow herself to be amazing. She needed to stop worrying about the fear and start focusing on the success, and start focusing on all of the things that she knew that she could do. And that at the end of the day, we're proud of them for just being strong and courageous enough to go out on the floor, because most people would never even make it this far. I don't know how many people even go out in life and could perform like that in front of. And after that talk, you kind of see, she jumps back in, and she's back to her old self, and she realizes, yeah, I can do this. And that's really what this sport is about, is, making sure that they understand that they are stronger than they believe they are, they're capable of more than they think they can, and more importantly, they're amazing.
And now, taking the floor from Houston, Texas, they're competing in our level 1 small youth division. Let's hear it for Shoe Factory, ladies.
And I mean, not the dynamics of it, but the execution of it was poo-poo.
From the humble side, I would say royalty, because there was a lot of movement on their team, a lot of changes going into the final few days before competition. Beyond that, I think that may have been the biggest concern, probably the only real concern that we had, or at least I had.
If we hit, we show that our coaches know what they're doing, and it shows that we know what we're doing. We can work as a team together, and not as individuals. So, like, I need you guys to make sure, like, don't worry about missing your count. Do not worry about a stud dropping. Do not worry about anything that happens out there on the floor. Just know that we're all a team, and whatever happens on the floor is from all of us, not just from a one person perspective, okay?
In a point of falls, it's not because there's that
yeah. So whenever we pray, I'm gonna make sure that we all like just come together as a team and not as individuals. Because if we're individuals, then it's not gonna work. There's no I in cheer. There's no I in team. We're all together as one. Whenever we all come together, we're all one person that will go out there and do whatever we can to make sure that our routine works.
So we have our first donations. Our first donors were from Cheer Athletics and Randall Kim.
Because half the studs were so good until the half round. Landon stepped out, right? If you step out, what happens? It's gonna fall. You have to step in the more, okay?
I've never seen you guys do that. So the good thing is that those are all like little things you guys can fix tomorrow and win 75%. But I mean, a lot of the big obstacles that you guys had, the pyramid, that opening stuff, sometimes, I mean, I haven't seen y'all hit that maybe once. It's wild.
Two hands for good formation.
Yeah.
Cases if you have to swim out.
Y'all are taking a step out. You guys that don't move like that. They move, you fall.
Oh, your foot is turned out. Directly behind you, yes.
The adjustments from day 1 to day 2 could be really specific to what the judges are telling you on the score sheet. If you have information that within the field, as far as the team that you're competing against, knowing exactly what they scored and what you scored, you can make subtle adjustments in order to increase your score. I've always told kids the judges can't score what they can't see. So if we don't put it out on the floor, they can't judge it. Now, if it's a situation where the scores are so low and the technique is not great, you may have to make a decision to pull a particular skill off the floor and put something else in its place that's going to score higher. You can also make the decisions to clean up sections, and it just might be how kids transition, smiling a little bit more, putting a little bit more energy in certain areas in order to get them to increase the easier part of the score sheet, which is performance.
Let's go! Here we go!
whole video.
Texas Extreme hit 0 and we're still beating them with deductions. 0.
It was a lot. It was a lot. It was a lot.
We gotta do like we do always, just come in with that crazy energy.
Today is birthday.
See what happened?
I don't think anything needs to be scaled back. They didn't get to hit what they have. Like, that's what we did last week. You hit what you have. And, you know.
Judges and royalty can't scale back anymore.
And honestly,
we've dumped it all the way down.
And I feel like Divas is okay.
They got enough pride.
We need to add
back and do a better job.
They'll come out tomorrow. I'll tell you, honestly, Prestige is this whole season last year until about midway. And then they pulled their heads out.
San Antonio was our first time we went out there, and it was like, okay,
we can see
hit, and we got paid at San Antonio because we hit. But I mean, I can't. I'm not gonna scale them all the way back. It's like, dude, either you're gonna do what you're gonna do, or you're not gonna do what you're gonna do. Yeah, you've got to do it. Like,
Because there's no sense in upgrading if you can't do
what you're given. Like, and that's. I mean, it sucks. I mean, but that's what it is.
I think that, you know, a few things though, like with J2, I mean, specifically, we saw they can hit their stuff. They can hit the pyramid under pressure.
Do you dare give them any more?
Not till January.
Not till January.
They're gonna have the same rinky.
People, I feel like it's better that way. Like, people are going to be expecting us. Aren't even going to be.
But you're gonna have
putting our
like Lady Royals.
Then when we come back in February, people are going to be like, whoa.
Sections.
That's what happened to us last year.
Because like that group, man, there's a lot of potential.
People are gauging it off what they saw this weekend.
Oh yeah.
And then when we come back in February,
The girls are gauging everything based on.
I mean, their score was already really good, and now he's so basic.
Jaylee looks rough.
But Minnie, Sarah
She does.
Minnie's pulled through, honey.
Queens.
Okay, 1, 2, 3. Super cute. Love that.
Bye, girls. Oh, sorry.
So, tomorrow, bodies in the air.
Did you see his shoes?
Bodies in the air.
Just custom Converse?
From both of you.
What?
Yeah.
Bodies in the air from both of you.
Warm-ups was great.
You guys had a performance yesterday where you hit some things that you haven't been hitting in a long time, am I right? Okay? But when it comes down to it, you have to be coachable. And part of that is not having an attitude when your coaches are talking to you. I get it. It's no fun to be corrected, okay? But if that correction is coming from a good place, from somebody that's trying to make you better, would you guys all agree your coaches know what they're talking about? Would you? You hesitated. Do you not think your coaches know what they're talking about? I'm pretty sure we have a summit title at a level 5. And Coach Curtis is one of the coaches that coaches that team. It is insulting for a junior 2 team to act as if you know more than your coaches do. I know that some of you guys are from different programs and you had to put up with some different kinds of coaches. But what I will tell you is this. That's not the Cheer Factory way. An attitude is not the Cheer Factory way. So you have a choice. You can either step up and start being a Cheer Factory athlete and having a good attitude and represent our gym well, or I can start making choices where I have athletes not on the floor. If what you enjoy is all that stress and stupidity from other gyms, then you go there. But do not bring it to this gym. We understand each other. Because that is not who we are. We hold our athletes to a high standard. Our athletes are coachable. Yes, we have tough practices. And we have practices where sometimes you're sore and you're hurt and you're frustrated. But at the end of the day, your coaches love you.
It's done off the sweat of a lot of people's brow. And I think that that's kind of what makes us different, is that we really are. We know our athletes. We love our athletes. And the other thing that most people don't know is behind the scenes before we go out and perform, every single athlete in this gym, and in the one in Humble now too, I kiss them and tell them I love them on the cheek before they go on the floor, every single one of them, because I want them to understand at the end of the day, whether or not they hit their routine, they're still loved and they're still amazing. So I try to remind them of that before they go out.
So your choices are this. You can go out and you can run your routine, day 2 where it counts 3 times, and you can hit it
And that's going to require a good attitude and supporting each other and supporting your coaches that love you, because you know what? At the end of the day, they worry about you more than you guys know. Or you can continue to do what you're doing right now. Is it working for you? So if that's not working for you, you probably need to change it, right? So as we walk into that room, each one of you has a decision. Are you going to continue to repeat the same stuff, or are you going to change? And if you're going to change, then it needs to start right now. Smiles on your face, positive attitudes, and ready to kill on the floor. Do we hear each other? All right, let's go.
It is in the hallway. There's a review tent. You'll see black pipe and drape.
Get your Santa bags. Go take your picture in front of our champion banner. And remember, if you're a champion, you qualify to be a grand champion at our next awards.
Come down when they're supposed to come down. All right? Big performance in the dance. Okay? Technique. Facials. All of those things that we went over. Technique. Facials. All of it. Have fun.
All right, a quick bobby pin check. And we're going to bring our next team on the floor. All right, now, we've got teams backstage that are getting ready to take the floor for day 2. So fans, we want you to make some noise for our teams getting ready to compete. So if you want a stocking with a t-shirt inside, stand on your feet, make some noise.
But there's just things that we shouldn't be forgetting. There's things we shouldn't forget. Where timing is off, Berlin, the whole routine you're in the center, and you're messing up. So that's gonna change when we get back, because obviously it's too much for you, okay? You guys know the drill. And I can't take girls that have been with me forever making the same mistakes. Making mistakes that you shouldn't be making. You are, at this point, some of you are professionals. And you need to treat yourself as such when you step on the floor. You can't go out there and forget what you're doing. Some of you have been with us and with this program for multiple years. You know the expectation of this team. You know what you're supposed to be doing. So get out there and do what you're supposed to do. Carly, you got to throw your tumbling. Portland, you need to land on your hands. You need to remember what you're doing. That's not fair. It's not fair. We cannot continue to make these mistakes. So this weekend is a lesson. You need to learn from this weekend. Remember what you're supposed to do. And when you step on the floor, do it. Execute it. Everybody has to be all in when we step on the floor. It was not terrible. It was not terrible. But no, there was no building issue. There was no building issue. It's individual. But besides Emma Stein, Portland, messing up again. I don't know if they're gonna count that as a bobble or a ball. But still, those things are unacceptable. We need to get back to the gym and we need to work harder. Whatever placement you get is what you deserve to spend for the performance you put on the floor. And that's that. I gotta go back here for warm-ups and I'll let them finish off. will. I will. Hit my sight. Hit my sight. I will. I will. Be clean. I am. Confident. I beat it. I will. Breathe. I will. I will. Perform with my heart. Perform with my heart. I will. Give it all I got. I will. I will. Never give up. Never give up. We are. We are. The team. That is ridiculous. This is why you need to show up to practice. This is why you need to bring your stunt groups into practice. 2 days in a row. 2 days. Some of you have let me down this weekend, and I'm not going to sugarcoat it at all. Unacceptable. Period. Make a change, or I'm going to make some changes.
We give you the tools you need to be amazing, and we tell you there is a target on your back. People are watching to see what Prestige is going to do this year, and you don't even give it enough importance to make sure that you know that you can get your job done and your stunts and everything else.
The ball is in your court. You get to choose what happens tomorrow. You get to choose how the rest of this season goes. Okay? But you gotta come to practice on purpose and do something that's gonna matter. It's gotta count.
Last year I was watching y'all, and I looked up to y'all last year. So it's kind of disappointing that we went out there and performed like that. I really hope we can get it together because I remember you, I remember watching y'all, and I hope I can have that experience with y'all that y'all did last year and get something this year.
Don't just sit around and sit down and like other people are getting like motions or something. Don't play around like that. Don't like extra stuff. Don't just sit there. Like if he says do something, do something. Don't just play around.
Our first champion representing Division 2 Cheer Factory Prestige.
You've got to make them understand that they had a responsibility. For whatever reason, the responsibility was lacking or the judgment was lacking when they decided to not do something or put all the energy into what it is that they were doing that didn't succeed. Now, on the other hand, yeah, if it's a really good routine, you give them that energy and that motivation, you know, going, hey, we can do this again tomorrow. If it's a 2-day competition, hey, let's pick right back up. And it's not usually those conversations aren't really very long.
Because that's not lack of talent. That's lack of effort.
And commitment.
That's lack of coming in and practicing. Because at the end of the day, that happened because they didn't create consistency. They didn't create consistency because they didn't do what they were asked, which was to come in, help us help you. We can set you up for success, but you're going to have to put the hours in. And that was a direct reflection of them not coming in and doing what they were asked to do. And yes, it's frustrating. That was the point.
That was.
I'm the bad guy because at the end of the day, they're always looking at the coach as to why it failed.
Right.
Why did it fail? Well, it didn't fail because we didn't coach them right. It didn't fail because we didn't care or we didn't give them the skills. It failed because we asked them to do something and they didn't follow through with it.
Yeah.
And everyone's commitment level, and that is the unfortunate situation. You know, I just feel like sometimes everyone's commitment level isn't all there. Like they love the idea of being a level 5 athlete. They love the idea of putting that in their Instagram handle and saying, oh, Cheer Factory proceeds to level 5.
Yeah.
You know, but they don't love the sweat equity that they have to put in, the work that they have to put in to perform great. And that's honestly, in that moment, that's really what upset me.
I think we all get that. I'm probably the last one to walk away just because like I said, I'm old and kind of seasoned, but we live in a society where everybody wants to find blame. Yeah. And one of it's not my favorite cartoon, but I think the most poignant cartoon is a picture of, we'll just call it the 1970s, where it's a parent with a report card and their child, and they're showing the report card to the child, and they're saying, what did you do? What went wrong here? Which was the generation I grew up in. And now they've got the newer generation, they've got the parents with the kid and the report card shoving it in the teacher's face going, what did you do? What have you not done? And I feel like there's actually, the answer's in the middle. Yeah. It might be that the teacher's not reaching the child, but it's very possible the child's just not doing what they need to do as well. And I feel like that as coaches, we do take on those routines. Like those are your babies. You created the routine. Mm-hmm. You've coached the kids. You've loved them. You've yelled at them. You've cheered them on. And at the end of the day, when they fail, you do take it very, very personally. And so I feel like, but it is okay to tell a child that they did not do what they were supposed to do on the floor. But at the end of the day, as coaches, our job is not to coddle. Our job is to empower. It is to improve. And it is to hopefully create a new generation of kids that are accountable, self-sufficient, driven, and understand that failures happen. Failure is a part of life. And we have to get used to the fact you're not always going to win everything. We're in this society of fun, fair, positive, everything. Everybody gets a trophy. No, not everybody gets a trophy. And at the end of the day, there's a certain level of accountability. If you don't work as hard as the person in the cubicle next to you, don't expect to get the promotion or the raise. And sometimes you're still going to work as hard, and for whatever reason, they're going to be more drawn to that person, and they're still going to get the promotion and raise. It's life. If you allow that stuff to beat you down and you don't use it as something to build you up, then I think as a society, we're failing the future generation, which scares me because these are going to be the people that are going to be running the government eventually that I'm going to be too old to be part of. So I feel like as coaches we have to have kind of that fine line. I think it is perfectly acceptable when you set a level of expectation for athletes based on their age. Prestige is a senior team. Mm-hmm. Half of those kids are wanting to cheer in college. If they want to cheer in college, you better get ready to be eaten up and spit out because the coaches don't care. So, I feel like it's kind of a separated thing, but I don't feel like we should just hug them and say, oh, well, you did your very best. Thank you for showing up today. That's not the case because sometimes we know they haven't. And I think it's okay. Now, in the heat of the moment, is it good to yell at them? It depends. Prestige deserved it. I'm sorry. They deserved it.
I definitely, afterwards, I had to go walk, and I was like, I had to really think about it. But, it was just like, I think what made me upset the most, it's like the same people that I tell, come in, work on this, or missing practice, or missing the practice right before competition. It's like, are you really committed? Do you really want to be on the team?
Who misses a practice right before competition?
I don't know, and that's honestly what drives me crazy.
But I have a question about this. Is like, what do we do about those kids that are in other activities?
That's a hard one.
Because with one of our teams, they can never come in with a stunt because they have conflicting things.
I know y'all are dealing that with one team in particular right now. And, I think at the end of the day, that's where I said next year, and when I say next year, like right now, we need to start working on our contracts. And I think that once you make a team, we're going to have a signing day and we'll make a big deal about it. Because I'll be honest with you, to commit to an all-star program, that's a huge commitment. We treat our male-driven sports a whole lot differently than we do our sports that are dominated by, though there are a lot of males in cheer now, it's primarily a female sport. There's a lot of females, but for some reason we make a different set of rules for them. Well, you know, it's okay if they miss because, you know, they've got, you know, to do this or they've got to do that, or we're going to let them play this and play that and do. My son, if he was on varsity football and he missed football practice, he'd be on the sidelines.
You're not sure?
They wouldn't even let him pad out. He would have been on the sidelines in jeans and his jersey because everybody would have known that he didn't have what it took, obviously, to commit to the team. I don't think it's anything different, but I think that we have to change that culture, and we may have to every once in a while be the bad guy. And that's why we have to set up a clear and concise, because I agree with you, as a coach, it's frustrating to have an athlete or athletes that want the prestige of being on a team, no pun intended, but they want the prestige of being on a team, and they want the name and they want the title and they want to say that they're on the, you know, the 2018 summit winning team, but they don't want to put the work in, and they don't understand that you don't get there by just showing up when you feel like it and being excellent. No, it doesn't work that way.
Next time on Cheer Factory's Full Out.